Good morning, all. My name is Talha Köse. I am the director of SETA Brussels office. So today we will have a very important and timely event for discussing the elections and the political future of Libya. These elections are scheduled at the end of December, and there are still uncertainties and disagreements among the local actors, and some of the international actors also have different positions. So although after the revolution, Libyan people are expecting stability, and the political dialogue process is designed to lead the country democratic transition and stability. And there are certain hurdles in that direction, and the elections are considered as one of the important steps towards more stable and more peaceful Libya. So today we will be discussing the political future of Libya, and also how the elections will stand in this direction. So we are organizing this panel with the Foreign Policy Directorate of SETA Foundation, and today we have very distinguished guests and experts on Libya and Turkish foreign policy and international affairs. So in our first panel, I will give the floor to President and General Director of the SETA Foundation, Professor Burhanettin Duran. And after introductory remarks of Professor Duran, we will have Ambassador İbrahim Kalın. He is the spokesperson of Turkish Presidency, as well as the head of foreign policy and security advisory council in Presidency. So both Professor Duran's and Ambassador Kalın's remarks are important to highlight Turkey's position as well as the direction of Libyan political spectrum. So I would like to welcome both Professor Duran and İbrahim Kalın, and I will invite Professor Burhanettin Duran, the Coordinator General of SETA Foundation, to give his introductory remarks.
Thank you, Professor Talha. Dear Ambassador İbrahim Kalın, distinguished speakers, and our viewers and followers on online channels. Good morning. I'd like to welcome you all to this timely event, and at the same time thank the SETA Brussels organizing this panel. Actually, in the original plan, it was our aim to organize this panel in a hybrid format with physical participation of some of our speakers in Brussels. But due to new COVID restrictions, we had to switch to an online panel. I hope that we will have the opportunity to have events like this in person as soon as well. Today, we are discussing Libya with some distinguished experts on the field. As all we know, Libya is heading to elections at the end of this December. There is less than a month until the elections, but unfortunately, too many issues are still to be addressed. There are a lot of uncertainties related to the polls, and the possible scenarios in the aftermath of the election are pretty ambiguous. We would want to be optimistic about the elections to bring stability for Libya, but those uncertainties lead us to think twice. The fragile peace in Libya is contingent on so many factors and conditions, and no one can yet say that all those conditions are ripe for moving the country in a much clearer and positive direction. As you know, the country had been going through a turbulent political situation since the toppling of Gaddafi by a popular revolt in 2011. Libyan people freed themselves from the dictatorship, but they experienced external divisions, internal divisions, and external manipulations, and a fierce civil war in the immediate aftermath of the February Revolution. Unfortunately, the post-revolution civil war and the violence led to the death of thousands of Libyan civilians, and the involvement of external actors and the violent extremist groups furthered the chaos in the country. While the friends of Libya people tried to help move the country towards stability, the spoilers were there, and some irresponsible actors deepen the divisions and conflicts in the country. UN-led international peace efforts failed to bring stability to Libya. After a military balance in the field emerged, the country returned to a real political process. Khalifa Haftar was about to take control of the country with his international sponsors. Libya could have been dragged into a new dictatorship and sustained instability if pro-Haftar troops controlled the country's capital. Fortunately, Turkey's agreement with Libyan legitimate actors and involvement was a crucial factor that brought balance to the field and facilitated the continuation of the Berlin process. Libyans need to reach political process by a genuine political dialogue, and the consent of the Libyan people are on the agenda. There is no military solution to the current political problems in the country. Only through sincere political engagement and dialogue of the Libyan domestic actors can restore the peace and stability in Libya. There is an international pressure for Libyan domestic actors to organize the polls according to the planned schedule. There is almost a month to the scheduled date, yet many issues related to elections are still uncertain. There is no action plan or a roadmap of what the Libyan actors and responsible international stakeholders do if post-election chaos occurs. Yes, sure, we want to be optimistic about the future of Libya. We would like to see Libya move in the direction of peace and stability, but this is the right platform and the right time to discuss all the questions related to coming elections. We are looking forward to seeing a much peaceful and prosperous Libya very soon. We know that Libyan people are eager to see their country move toward peace and stability through democratic means. Like Libyans and other international followers, we at SETA are following the development at Libya closely. We are publishing extensively on Libya. We contribute to capacity building efforts of our Libyan friends and at the level of professional focus. And we have friends and colleagues in Libya that we collaborate closely. We hope that the forthcoming December 24 elections and the developments after the elections contribute to the peace and stability of Libya. I'd like to thank the panelists and online followers. And now I'd like to invite Ambassador İbrahim Kalın, the presidential spokesperson and the head of the Foreign Policy and Security Advisory Council of the Turkish Presidency, to deliver his keynote speech. Mr. Ambassador, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Burhanettin. Thank you, Talha, and thank you, SETA, for your kind invitation and for organizing this timely panel. Libya has been going through a major transition in its history since the end of the Gaddafi era in 2011. Libya has gone from dictatorship to toppling of dictatorship to a democratic, semi-democratic process and civil war. And now we are in the third phase of restarting the democratic process in the country with dictatorship, its toppling, and civil war as a background to what may turn out to be the case now in Libya's near future. 10 years it's been since the toppling of Gaddafi with the February Revolution, and 10 years is not a very long time in the history of a nation. But given the realities on the ground and the fast-paced changes happening in the Mediterranean, in North Africa, and in the surrounding regions with terrorism, migration, and other related issues, 10 years is also a long time. And we are happy to see that now the fighting, the civil war that has wreaked ravage in Libya for the last 2-3 years has come to an end. This should be celebrated as a major opportunity now for the political process to move forward. But there are some issues and problems that need to be addressed. First of all, Libya's territorial integrity and political unity must be maintained at all costs. I think the political actors in Libya from east, west, and south are trying their best to bring different factions of the country together to establish this political unity based on sound rules and principles. And that, of course, requires having a kind of a legal basis and political consensus. That's why the 2015 Libyan political action plan and Libyan stability agreement is extremely important, and that's the main kind of reference point for all major political decisions to be made in Libya as we prepare for the elections in December, hopefully, and if failing of that, whatever may turn out to be the case right after that. But I think it's really important to emphasize the significance of keeping Libya's territorial integrity and political unity. The end of civil war should prepare the ground for political stability and democratic governance. It means that an inclusive government where officials are elected in a transparent election, and this is why the elections announced or set for December 24th is extremely important. But given the political realities on the ground, we know that there are some issues. And of course, it's up to the Libyans to make a final decision on this, whether they will be able to hold the elections on December 24th or delay it. In either case, if they go for elections, I think it will be good for Libya. If they decide to postpone it for political legal reasons, then the current government of national accord or unity needs to come up with some kind of a roadmap and explanation to the Libyan people and the international community why they cannot hold the elections on time, and what they are planning to do as a roadmap, as kind of a timeline in the near future. In any case, whatever they decide, of course, this must be a Libyan-led process, and that process must be respected and supported by all international actors, neighboring countries, and others. I think that one key takeaway from the recent history of Libya is that if we prioritize Libya's political social agenda and help them achieve stability and move the political process, things actually move in the right direction. Therefore, the international efforts under the UN, from the Berlin Conference to most recently the Paris Conference, should continue to support the Libyan people and this Libyan-led process to be inclusive, to be transparent, and to be helpful. But I have to say one caveat that I personally have, and that is the following issue. The world, mostly our European colleagues and the United States, tend to see the Libyan file through the lens of three main issues. Number one is terrorism, number two is migration, and number three, energy, oil and gas. It looks like, I mean, I have the impression from discussions with my colleagues and counterparts in Europe and the United States, is that as long as there is no terrorism threat coming from Libya to Europe, which happens to be also the southern flank of NATO, and there is no migration coming from Libya, again, human trafficking, smuggling, illegal migration, crossings, etc., and there is some kind of regulation or control of the energy resources of Libya, Libyan file should be okay. This is a very narrow-minded perspective. There is more to Libya than just terrorism or migration. First of all, I think Libyan people should be put at top of the list when we deal with Libya politically, economically, security-wise, and in other areas. Of course, we fully support Libya in its fight against terrorism, whether it's coming from Daesh or from other militia groups, and we will continue to support them. And of course, the threat of terrorism or security may come from within as well, as we have seen with the civil war, with the forces led by General Haftar. The human drama took place there, where hundreds of thousands of Libyan people, civilians and others, were killed. What happened in Misrata and in other places, we've seen this. Therefore, the threat may come from within, and so the Libyan government, should be prepared. That's why Turkey went in, and with an agreement with the Government of National Accord, we provided military aid, assistance, advising, training to Libyan security forces there. Therefore, we negotiate, we discuss the status of our forces in Libya only with the Libyan people, with the Libyan government, with official Libyan elected officials, with Libyan authorities. We do not discuss this. We are not prepared to have negotiations on this issue with any other third party other than the Libyans themselves. And the last Berlin conference, as well as the Paris conference, I think also underline, and as it was expressed by the Libyan Prime Minister and the President of the Council, both Dibeibe and Menfi, that they are happy and will continue to support Turkey's military aid agreement with Libya. And finally, of course, we would like to see a united Libyan army, and whatever we can do as Turkey to help them establish that army, we will be there to help them with that goal, because uniting different forces, militia groups, security forces from east, south, and west under one united Libyan army is of paramount importance for Libya's security and border security, as well as internal security, and we will continue to support Libya in that effort. As far as migration is concerned, of course, it is a global challenge. It should be controlled. No illegal crossings or migration should take place, but that should be done with a perspective of humanitarian aid and with a humane point of view. We cannot treat immigrants as just numbers or statistics. Thousands of people have already died in the cold waters of the Mediterranean and the Aegean. Unfortunately, the so-called civilized world has largely failed in its dealing with the migration crisis over the last 10 years, originating mostly from Syria, but from many other parts of the world, from Afghanistan, from Iraq, from many African countries, from Libya and other places. We have to do more, and we have the capacity to do it more internationally speaking. The UN, EU, and other agencies must do more to help immigrants and, of course, address the issue at its point of inception, where it arises in the first place. Why do people feel obligated or forced to move, migrate from one place to another? They run away from civil wars. They run away from brutal regimes like in Syria. They run away from other issues, economic difficulties or other issues. We have to find ways to help them so that we stop the migration flow from east to west, from west to east, south, and in other directions as well. So we have to help the Libyans as well deal with the migration issue. And finally, on the oil and gas, of course, it's Libyan people's riches and wealth, and it should be used for the Libyan people. I don't think any international actor should even pretend to know what to do with those resources. The Libyans themselves are fully entitled to use their own resources, and that should be the practice there. But anything international actors, oil companies, gas companies, etc., can do to help them, I'm sure the Libyans will be happy, as in fact we have agreements. Many countries and international companies have agreements to help and sell Libyan oil and gas, but the revenues should go back to the Libyan people, as it is being done under the current government at the moment. Now, as far as the elections are concerned, as I mentioned briefly, elections are expected to be held on December 24th. There is a lively debate going on among the Libyans themselves. What will it take to hold these elections in a transparent manner, in a manner that will be acceptable to everyone, from everything from deciding on candidates to the political parties law, the new constitution, and number of other political issues. We support the holding of elections in time on December 24th. But as I said, if for one reason or another that turns out to be impossible, then I think the Libyan officials, I'm sure, will have a plan, will share it with the Libyan people, also with the international community, as to what they intend to do in case that they cannot hold the elections on December 24th. But I think elections are important. They will be an important ingredient, component of the political process moving forward in Libya. But there are many other elements here that we have to take into account. As I said, preventing any kind of military confrontation from this point onward until December 24th and afterwards is also important. Therefore, the security situation in the country is critical, and we hope, and our efforts are designed to help the Libyan government not to allow any kind of internal strife or attacks by Haftar forces, which is always a possibility, because despite this ending of the civil war and the political process over the last year and a half, unfortunately, Haftar forces and his destabilizing role that shaped the course of events over the last couple of years, they are still there as a potential spoiler, and people in Tripoli are rightly concerned about the military buildup and military capacities that some other elements, including Haftar and others, have. And we hope that this will be put under control, and the political process will be allowed to move forward. So in that regard, the status of foreign fighters and foreign soldiers in Libya is important. As I said, we are there as part of an agreement to help the Libyan government to establish security and also establish one united Libyan army. And I think that should be the goal. From time to time, we hear from some people that the number one issue is the withdrawal of all foreign forces from Libya. We do not hear this very often from the Libyans, but more so actually from other international actors. As I said, we are there based on an agreement that we signed with the Libyan government almost 2 years ago. I remember vividly about 2 years ago when we signed this agreement, when the situation was very dire in Tripoli. Haftar forces were about to capture the capital, and after, in fact, running a carnage in the city and in the surrounding areas, our intervention, in fact, changed the course of events and brought a degree of balance to the conflict. As a result of that, and thanks to that effort and agreement, the fighting stopped, and that allowed the political process to move forward. You ask anyone in Tripoli, you ask any objective international observer, they will admit that Turkey's role was critical in bringing the security situation to a better position and allow the political process to move forward. This was highlighted in the Berlin conference last year and in the Paris meeting most recently as well. So the two agreements that Turkey has with Libya, one is the Maritime Zone Agreement on the Mediterranean, and the second one is the Military Aid and Training Agreement. They're designed to help improve relations between Turkey and Libya, but also help regional stability. And we have this two agreements that have helped Libyans themselves politically, economically, security-wise. And we believe that even the Maritime Zone Agreement, which was objected to by some countries, including Greece and others, in the Aegean and in the Mediterranean, if it is understood properly, it will help regional stability. It will turn the Mediterranean into a sea of cooperation and energy and resources for all, as our president has said. In fact, as part of that, our president has proposed to host a conference on the Eastern Mediterranean, where we talk about all these issues with all key players from east to west, all the countries around the Mediterranean, from Libya to Egypt, from Israel to and other countries, Turkey and Greece and Cyprus and others. And we believe that it could serve as a platform to bring all these different actors together, so that we work on the Mediterranean energy resources with a positive agenda, and that will help everyone, including the Libyans themselves. Now, we will continue to support the political process in Libya, and we have a long history of working with Libyans in many different areas, from security to economy, from trade to tourism, from health to infrastructure. Turkish companies have done work in Libya for the last 40-50 years. Even under Gaddafi, everybody knows that Turkish companies played a significant role in the development of the country. So we have a long history there. In fact, we intend to continue this cooperation to help the Libyan people. Libya deserves more than what they have right now, and they have the resources to achieve their goal of political stability, economic development, unity, and prosperity for all. As far as NATO and the EU are concerned, as part of NATO alliance, as a member country, we believe we play an important role in NATO's security in its southern flank. but also for the Mediterranean, for stability in the Mediterranean in general. So we will continue to support these processes, and we will continue to work with the Libyan officials, despite some differences with some political actors in some part of the Libyan political scene. We will continue to support any effort to bring all different political parties together. And our goal is to help the Libyans achieve their political stability, territorial integrity, economic development, peace and security for Libyans and for the entire region. So I think I will stop here with those comments.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Ambassador Kalın. So it's very important. You highlighted very important points about the general political process and prospects of elections and Turkey's position in Libya. So we have actually many questions coming from our followers. So if we have an opportunity, I would like to ask a couple of questions. So if we have time, we know that you have time constraint, but especially with regard to these elections. So people are wondering, what will Turkey do if there will be a post-election disagreement, post-election violence? So what will be Turkey's position, and how Turkey will help to contribute stability, or what will be Turkey's position in this line?
We support the holding of elections on December 24th, but as I said, for political, legal, or other reasons, the Libyans themselves decide to postpone it. We will continue to support the Libyan political actors in it should be held on time as it was announced last year. So we hope that they will hold the elections on time. If, as I said, that doesn't turn out to be the case, then the Libyan government officials will have to announce or share some kind of a roadmap, a timetable, timeline for the Libyans themselves, what they intend to do when they will hold the elections, say in 3 months, 6 months. I do not know. I do not want to speak on their behalf. Of course, they will have to make their own consultations and decision on this issue, but we will support them, even, as I said, in case the elections cannot be held on December 24th. We will continue to support them politically, economically, and in other areas as well. And we hope that the international community will do the same. If in case the elections are postponed, that should not be used or misused by others to spoil the political process to move forward.
One other issue is Turkey's military presence. Especially some of the international actors are problematizing Turkey's effort to strengthen security sector in Libya and help the disarmament of some of the militias. So this is becoming a matter of discussion in many international platforms, and portrayed as Turkey is portrayed as a country providing some foreign troops. So it is important, I think, to also highlight Turkey's position and Turkey's limits in this security. So what can you say about this? I mean, are the actors who are concerned about Turkey's military presence or aid to Libya are right, or what is the limitation of Turkey's position in this regard?
From time to time, we hear about this analysis about Turkey's military presence, say in Syria, in Idlib, or in Karabakh, or in Qatar, or in Libya, for example. 3-4 places where Turkey's military presence, engagement has played a significant role in changing the course of events. If you look at how they transpired, they all have turned out to be for the good, actually. In Idlib, it's Turkish military. It's thanks to the presence of Turkish military that 2.5 million, almost 3 million people are staying where they are staying. Had it not been for Turkey's strong backing of the Syrian people there with military presence, and of course with a lot of political engagement with Russia and with Iran, regime and its backers will have run over Idlib, and you will have ended up with another 2-3 million people on the march towards Turkey, and from there towards Europe and other places. So Turkey's military presence plays a significant role in containing the situation in Idlib. The same goes true for Karabakh, a military conflict that has not been resolved for the last 30 years, has been resolved thanks to the close cooperation between Turkey and Azerbaijan. We were not there as combatant forces, but we helped and we supported the Azeri forces and the Azeri government. And as a result of that, in 44 days, Karabakh was liberated. Now there is a new process taking place in the Southern Caucasus, which we believe will lead to regional stability, especially with the recent meeting between President Ilham Aliyev, Prime Minister Pashinyan, President Putin, about which President Ilham Aliyev informed our president also. So they're happy, and we are happy that the political process is moving forward now in terms of normalization between Azerbaijan and Armenia, and we hope to contribute to that. We would like to see a gradual process of normalization between Turkey and Armenia, which we believe will benefit Armenia more than anyone else as well. So if you look at the Qatar, what happened there during the embargo against Qatar by some Gulf countries, again, now they have realized that that was not a very productive policy. They changed course. They made peace, and we fully supported it. But we supported Qatar during that process because we believed that the embargo against the blockade against Qatar was unfair, unproductive. It was not logical. It was not reasonable. And we are glad to see that other actors have now come finally to see that as well. Now, Libya is again another similar case. Sometimes from time to time, we hear some analysts complaining about Turkey's military presence there. But as I said, if you look at the big picture there, they've come to, in fact, express their support and gratitude. In fact, when I talk to my counterparts, they tell me in private, they say they cannot say this in public. I don't know why, but they tell me in public, in private, that in fact it was thanks to Turkey's efforts and intervention in the sense of this agreement that things changed, and a degree of balance was brought into the equation, and now we have the end of the civil war and the political process moving forward. And I think those who really care about Libya, those who really care about Libya's political unity, territorial integrity, and stability, should be grateful to Turkey for making its efforts in Libya and other places also. You can imagine the situation had it not been for this agreement and for Turkey's efforts to help the Libyan officials in Tripoli, Libyan army, security forces under the Sarraj government, and after that under Dibeibe and Menfi, things will have taken a very, very different course. The militias from different African countries, from Chad, Sudan, and other places, and other international players and actors, I don't need to name names here, I think you all know, will have taken things to a very different level, and we wouldn't have the political stability, the space for political process to move forward at this point.
Thank you. I mean, I know that you have a time constraint, but I would like to ask one last question about the broader East Med issue. So you know that Libya and Turkey are important stakeholders in the Eastern Mediterranean, and there is an ongoing debate of the future of the East Med, and there are certain tensions and emerging alliances in Eastern Mediterranean, especially this gas forum and other debate. So what is Turkey's overall position in this East Med debate, and how Turkish-Libyan relations stand in this situation? And there are also some developments and reconciliation efforts, diplomatic efforts with Egypt, Israel, and ongoing efforts with United Arab Emirates. So how does Turkey formulate its position in the East Med, and how this Libya may play in this broader East Med game?
First of all, you cannot have a reasonable and sustainable map of energy, resources, oil and gas in the Mediterranean without Turkey. A big piece will be missing, and that will imbalance the whole thing. Everybody knows, from Israel to Egypt, from the Greek Cypriots to Greece and others, that without Turkey being on the map, you cannot have Eastern Mediterranean oil and gas reaching Europe or other international markets in a reasonable and sustainable and secure manner. Any other alternative to bypass Turkey will end up at a failure. It's self-evident. It's very clear. For political reasons, some countries have tried to exclude Turkey from this. They established their own platforms. They now realize also that without Turkey, it will not work. It will be extremely costly. It will not be sustainable. Therefore, our president has called for an all-inclusive East Med conference where we can address all these issues. As I said, despite our political differences with some countries, we are ready to sit with them and discuss these issues based on shared interest for all neighboring countries in the Eastern Mediterranean. And I think, look, Mediterranean historically has always acted as a major source of culture and civilization and mobility from the ancient times, from even ancient Egyptian times, through the Middle Ages, through the modern period, as Fernand Braudel has written beautifully in his multi-volume work on the Mediterranean. Mediterranean has always been a cradle of civilization in the true sense of the term, meaning that a crisscrossing of different cultures, ideas, commodities, providing a shared security for all, functioning as a gateway for different ideas and cultural traits and influences and civilizational moves, etc. I believe if you look at the map of the Mediterranean, you have this potential now also. I mean, you have all the great representatives of the great civilizations of the world, from the Islamic to the ancient Jewish, from ancient Egyptian to ancient Greek civilization. I mean, they are all there with their modern inheritors. I believe we can create this new culture of Mediterranean again, and that can really help. If you look at the Mediterranean with its hinterland, it goes all the way to Europe, to the Balkans, to Caucasus, to Mesopotamia, to the Gulf countries, North Africa, this entire region. So it's not just about the Mediterranean. It's really with the larger impact on its region. It can help global peace and stability. It was with this idea that our president proposed this East Med conference. He discusses with European leaders, President Michel, President of EU, Chancellor Merkel, and many other leaders. And we are yet to hear from them about a final decision on this, like in how and when to hold the conference. But his offer is still standing, and I believe with all the countries, coming to the table, it will help the entire region. We are making new efforts now in our engagements with countries like UAE, whose Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi just visited us recently last week, and we are turning a new page there. These are all very good developments, I think, for the entire region. As I think we move forward normalizing relations, taking steps in the path of normalizing relations with other countries, Egypt, and hopefully Egypt and Israel and others, Saudi Arabia. Also, we are, I believe, we will be seeing more developments, more positive steps in that direction. So therefore, I think the map will come back to where it should be in the first place. That is, with Turkey in it, with full transparency, with all actors playing a role there. Even with Greece, with which we have disagreements over a number of issues, we believe we can share the Aegean and the Mediterranean in a peaceful, constructive manner. There is no need for us to fight. Aegean is a small sea. It's a very intricate geography. We're very close to one another. In fact, most of the tensions that exist between Turkey and Greece is not because we are so different. It's because we are actually too much alike in many ways, and our geographies are too close. That creates a kind of constraint, but at the same time, it can be an opportunity for proximity, for sharing ideas. It's at an arm's length. I mean, it's just like, you're that close. And we can turn it into an opportunity between Turkey and Greece, between Turkey and Libya, between Turkey and Egypt, and all the other, countries in the Aegean, as well as in the Mediterranean. So we look at it, with a very positive agenda. Given the global challenges we all face, pandemic, terrorism, migration, and all other issues, I think we should be working more closely towards a common goal altogether.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Kalın. It's really nice words and nice wishes about both Libya and also Eastern Mediterranean. So we would like to see definitely a more peaceful, more stable Libya and cooperate further with our friends at Libya. So I would like to thank Ambassador İbrahim Kalın as well as Professor Burhanettin Duran the coordinator general of the SETA Foundation. So our involvement with regard to Libya ISMED will continue, and we will try to work together with our friends and colleagues. And today it was honored to host Ambassador Kalın as the keynote speaker, but we will continue our panel with our distinguished scholars. So we will start the second panel at 1. So we'll be close. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.